This week, Shabbos Parshas Tetzaveh is also Shabbos Zachor. It's the Shabbos before Purim. Every year, the Shabbos before Purim, we read the Parsha of Amalek, which is written in Parshas Kiseitze in the book of Devarim. In that Parsha, we read about the war, not only the war of Amalek, but Zachas ha'osha asher osa l'cha Amalek. We have a mitzvah, a positive mitzvah, to remember what Amalek did to us when we left Egypt, that they waged war with us. We weren't bothering them. Asher karcha baderech, they tripped us up on the way, and they waged war with us, and therefore we have a mitzvah of timche, as a zecher Amalek, to eradicate the memory of Amalek. Sort of a paradox. We have to remember what Amalek did to us, and we have to eradicate the memory of Amalek. What was so, obviously, a lot has been said about Amalek. What's the underlying theme? What is the actual reason why we're so upset with Amalek that we have to eradicate them? And what's this mitzvah that we have to always remember it? Okay, go, wage war, destroy them and finish. No, we have to always remember what Amalek did to us. What was so extraordinary about the war of Amalek that Amalek waged with us? We know that Medrash says famously that Amalek is compared to a hot bath. It was so hot that nobody wanted to go into it. It was a steaming bath until one person came and he jumped in and he got burnt because it was a hot bath. But once he jumped in, others weren't so scared, and then everybody else jumped into it. He cooled down the waters for everybody else. Amalek, says the Medrash, is compared to that first person who jumped in. As the pasuk says, Reishis Goyim Amalek. Amalek is considered the first of the nations. What does it mean, the first of the nations? In this context, it means he was the first one to break the concept that it's impossible to wage war on Klal Yisrael. When they left Egypt, the entire world was scared. They trembled in fear, as we say every day in the song of Oz Yasher Moshe, that the entire all the nations surrounding that area of the world were trembling in front of Klal Yisrael. They wouldn't dare touch them. And Amalek said, "What? Not touch them? What's wrong? Watch, we'll wage war with them." They were defeated in the war, but then other people were able to wage war after them. Okay, so they were the first. So therefore, we're so angry at them that we have to exact our revenge against the Amalek. Rabbi Kotler, his words are brought by his grandson, the Rosh Hashiva, Rabbi Yerucham Olshan, the Lakewood Rosh Hashiva. He says that it's much deeper than that. It's not a question of revenge, and it's not a question of he was worse than the other, therefore we're exacting revenge from him. We find that Esav HaRasha, the grandfather of Amalek, and the patriarch of the Amalek dynasty, he had a business deal with Yaakov. He sold his birthright to Yaakov, and the pasuk says, "Vayivez Esav es habecher." What do those words mean? And he denigrated the value of the birthright by selling it for a bowl of soup. He showed total disrespect for the birthright. This idea of taking something that was so clearly so clearly had a high value, and Esav himself understood the value, yet for a bowl of soup he was ready to sell it. It's not just that he did a bad business deal. It's that he took something holy, something worthwhile, and said, "I don't care. I'm going to sell that to you." And this idea and this power that Esav had, he infused it into his children, his grandchildren, and Amalek also inherited that quality. And therefore, what Amalek did, sometimes as people do things wrong, they make a mistake. They didn't know, they didn't pay attention. They have an ulterior motive why they want to do it. Somebody can't keep kosher because the overwhelming taste. It's so tasty to taste non-kosher food. They can't. That's a level of sin which has to be dealt with. But Amalek, who understood that Klal Yisrael is untouchable. This is the nation of Hashem. Hashem took us out of Mitzrayim with tremendous miracles. How can you touch this nation? I'm going to jump into the thing. What we call that in the words of Chazal is Yedea. Makir is Bayrei Umayred. He's a person who recognizes God. He understands what God is about. Yet he doesn't care and he goes against God. That's the worst violation. That's a violation of the covenant of Hashem. HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world, and he wants people to know who he is. And we have to come to a level where we understand who Hashem is, and through that we come to respect him. Sometimes we have a problem understanding, but once we do understand, and we don't respect HaKadosh Baruch Hu, chas v'shalom, those who do that are violating the respect of Hashem, and it's for that we always have to remember it, as we say in the reading that we read on Purim, that we're going to read Purim mornings from the end of Parshas Beshalach, Ki yod al ketzka, Milchama ba'Amalek, and the Chazal say, Yod al Keska. Keska means the throne of Hashem, but usually the throne of Hashem is written Kisei Hashem. The throne is written with 3 letters. Here it's written with 2 letters, Kes. And Chazal famously say that as long as Amalek is around in the world, Kaviyachol, as if to say Hashem's throne, there's something missing from Hashem's throne. What does that mean? That means that Hashem's throne symbolizes the glory of Hashem. And Amalek, in a certain way, his existence, his mere existence in the world, it takes away, it violates this glory that Hashem's throne is supposed to symbolize. And therefore, the lesson of Parshas Zachor, first of all, and of Purim in general, also in Purim in particular, Purim is also, when we read the Megillah, we don't see Hashem's name at all mentioned in the entire Megillah, as is very is very famous. Why is that? Very well known that the name of Hashem is not mentioned, because by reading the story of the Megillah, we could come to the conclusion that Hashem played no role in it. Everything was coincidental. But if we put the whole story together, we see that Hashem was there at every moment, at every minute, at every step of the way. He was there controlling the entire narrative. But we have to be able to recognize it and give glory to Hashem, give kavod to Hashem. So the message of one of the messages of Amalek, and remembering what Amalek did, and being able to fight against that power that Amalek has of lowering the glory of Hashem, violating the glory, the kavod of Hashem, is that we should come out of Purim, we should come out of Parshas Zachor, come out of Parshas Purim with more conviction, to be able to not only do what Hashem wants, but be able to do it in a way that glorifies HaKadosh Baruch Hu's name. We should behave for people who represent Torah, people who represent the word of Hashem. We have to behave in a way that people can look at us and say, oh, if this is a person that follows Hashem's Torah, then I want to be like him. That increases the glory of Hashem. That will be the greatest revenge and the greatest victory that we can have over Amalek, over Haman, over all of our enemies who represent the Amalek worldview. Have a good Shabbos and a Freilichen Purim. Please don't forget to subscribe. You'll get the video every week by subscribing. Put a like. Thank you very much. Good Shabbos.